I'll straight out, flat out say, don't give Scarecrow any more money.
Don't do that.
This institution has gone on too long.
Don't do that.
I'm a watermelon slammed into your driveway. Crack me open so I feel the air inside me.
VIVA Physical Media, episode 96.
96, nice. Well, you know, kind of.
Emalie, you've changed.
Yeah, wait, what happened to Emalie?
It is SIF opening night as we film this tonight. Emalie is busy doing her SIFly duties.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we have the specter of the past, Kevin Vesuvius Clarke, here to co-host with me.
I'm back. I'm back, baby.
He'll be back for this episode and the following episode.
Yeah, I'm back for 2 episodes. So I hope you like looking at this guy. One of my picks is a movie that Emalie hasn't seen. But would be an Emalie pick if she had. So okay. I feel like I'm filling in.
You're filling in.
I'm filling in the right way.
Filling in pretty good.
Yeah. So
what other business do we have? Not a ton. You know, we're always taking donations, sustain our Scarecrow. Your community support is what keeps Scarecrow going, what keeps this show going, what keeps the magnetic camaraderie just flowing straight into your eye holes.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah.
Over here.
But I think we should just get right to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we've got a lot of mailbag. Beautiful. Our first letter is from Ian Halloran. He says, "Hi, Emalie and Matt." Not you.
Well, it's me.
He didn't know you were going to be.
Well, it's me today,
but
Ian.
It's you today. He likes the shorter episodes. Question for Matt. Speaking of durational cinema, how about Fredrick Wiseman docs? Do you have any favorites? Have you seen Near Death? It is nearly 6 hours. Thanks, Ian. Ian, yes, I have seen Near Death. In fact, I have watched all of Scarecrow Video's Fredrick Wiseman movies. It's a lot, and that's a lot of durational cinema. However, I think my favorite is really short. It's only like an hour. It's called Missile.
That's a great one.
Nuclear missile silo operators. That one's really good. Although his last one that came out a couple of years ago about the French restaurant, I forget exactly what it's called. That one's really good too, and that's about 4 hours long.
My favorite is Belfast, Maine, which is like 4 hours.
Also very good.
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen Public Housing, which is also like 4.5 hours long.
The only one I haven't seen is the unreleased one, The Garden, which is about Madison Square Garden.
I haven't seen that.
That has not been released.
I've only seen a handful, but they're all great.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad one.
He's undefeated.
Undefeated, yeah, he's great. I mean, come on. Oh, I liked his one about the Crazy Horse nightclub.
Yeah.
Crazy Horse.
Yeah, it's got ladies in it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say why I liked it.
Nice.
I love horses that are a bit insane.
I like Crazy Horses.
Yeah, it had a lot to say about
Mental health in the equine community.
Show business. Yeah, exactly.
This business we call show. Okay, next letter. This is from Matt, not me. Different guy.
You sent that letter yourself?
Allegedly. Hello, Viva Physical Media crew.
That's me. That counts as me. You didn't say Matt and Emalie, so.
True. I've been watching the show long enough, I thought I'd finally write in. Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Since Wings Hauser recently passed, R.I.P.,
Yep.
I wanted to watch a movie of his I hadn't seen before and settled on Deadly Force. It's from the producers of Vice Squad. It has a scene where Wings is in a gunfight, nude after being disturbed during a bath, and it has a cameo from Estelle Getty from Golden Girls fame as a cabbie.
Hey, you want to go to heaven, asshole?
If that doesn't sell you, I don't know what to say. For Raunch versus Rom, he's voting for Malibu Bikini Shop. Good to know. Thanks. You screwed me. Since watching was a nice distraction in these current times, and I was surprised to see young Bruce Greenwood in it as Todd. Almost as surprising as when I found out he sang 2 feet oh butt crack in Dumb and Dumber. I don't remember that part.
I don't either.
It's interesting seeing Greenwood in a Spicoli role instead of a U.S. president or husband with a dark secret. Keep up the great work, guys. And I hope to visit there in store when I get up there from L.A. We hope to see you soon, Matt.
Hey, I'm up here from LA.
Hey, do you know this guy?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Speaking of, friends of mine had a R.I.P. Wings Hauser party. It was like Wings and Wings, so they made wings. And we ate a bunch of wings and watched a couple Wings Hauser movies. And one of them is like maybe my favorite discovery of the year. It's this movie called The Art of Dying, and it's one of the ones that's directed by Wings Hauser. And this movie is This is a movie is fucking nonsense from start to finish, and it's fucking great. The plot is sort of this guy, there's like this killer going around, and the way he kills is he's reenacting these famous movie scenes, and so he'll get a girl off the street and then like do a snuff film that looks like the shower scene in Psycho or whatever. But the great stuff is the stuff where Wings Hauser is just out of his fucking mind, and he's drunk, and he's like giving a bunny tequila on the beach at one point, and then there's this fucking disgusting sex scene where he's having sex with his lady friend in the kitchen counter, and he starts like dumping milk on her, and they're like spreading food. It's like they'd seen that scene in 9.5 Weeks, but we're like, yeah, but make it not sexy, and just whatever they had in this kitchen that they were renting or whatever, and so it's like and it's like, okay, that's kind of gross,
Just
but whatever.
putting frozen waffles on her.
Right, and but then the worst part is like that's happening. You're kind of like, well, this is kind of gross, but it's funny or weird or whatever, and then it cuts to the fucking floor. It's their feet, and I may be wrong, but I think he was wearing socks. If Rich finds this clip and he's not wearing socks, I apologize. But at any rate, it cuts to their feet on the floor, and the floor's like wet with like milky water, and there's just a peach floating around down there, and it's just like, what the fuck even is this? So anyway, I highly, highly recommend Art of Dying.
Also, gentlemen, take your socks off, please.
Absolutely, especially if you're
gonna do some milk play.
Exactly.
Yeah. Forgot
Get
to
your
mention-
socks off before you get your rocks off.
Put that on but we need some Viva merch with that on it.
There you go.
Wings Hauser. I also forgot to mention in the Fredrick Wiseman question, Emalie also sent her answer, and she says her answer is that she's never seen a Fredrick Wiseman movie.
Yeah.
Last email, that's right. From Meryl Speck, who's written in before. Greetings, Emalie and Matt, and Kevin. My wife and I are fans of the channel and of your podcast and have donated to the SOS campaign. Thanks for the Rapid Rex. Thank you for donating. We're happy to do it. We enjoy hearing you both talk about the films you love and would like to see the longer episodes return so that we can get even more recommendations from you. Well, you're getting the same amount of recommendations. They're just coming in slightly different order. Speaking of recommendations, my question today is this. What books about film have you read and can you recommend? Some of my recent favorite reads include Cinema Speculation by Quentin Tarantino, which I know both you and I have read. Mm-hmm. Revolution in 35mm, edited by Andrew Nettie and Sam Dagan, I think it says.
I don't know that one.
Teen Movie Hell by Mike McPadden, and The Sweetest Taboo, an unapologetic guide to child kills on film by Erica Schultz, who sent us a copy of that book because she did a bunch of research through our Run by Mail program for that
awesome.
book. Erica is a good friend of the store and a good friend of ours. Sincerely and SOS, thank you again, Meryl and Brenda in Maplewood, New Jersey.
Oh.
So you got any good movie books?
Well, I used to do a segment. There was a segment. When this show was my baby.
Yeah.
There was a segment that was about, I can't remember what it was called now, but it was about movie books. A couple that I read recently. I just finished the other day reading the Hal Needham's autobiography, Stuntman. That is great. He's a great storyteller, great story spinner. It's like Hollywood history from a little slightly different angle. This guy, he tried. If you don't know who Hal Needham is, he's a famous stuntman who became a director of mostly Burt Reynolds movies because him and Burt Reynolds were buddies.
Great
but
movies.
He invented a lot of modern stunt. I don't know what you'd say, stunt practices. He like helped revolutionize sort of stunt work in a lot of ways. There's a whole crazy story about like this killer that was like gonna murder him and Burt Reynolds or whatever. That could have, but like anyway, they just it's like him and Burt Reynolds just missed getting murdered. This was when he lived at Burt Reynolds' house.
This has to be an origin story for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Oh yeah, no, for real. And there's like 40 different guys he names that were like stuntmen that are named Cliff in there. So there's no doubt that Hal Needham was a big inspiration for Tarantino. Another autobiography that I read recently is Naked Theater and Uncensored Horror, which was Stuart Gordon's memoir. And that's just an awesome book. If you're into filmmaking, independent filmmaking at all, if you know who Stuart Gordon is, most famous for his director of Reanimator and lots of other movies. Because the way he came into making movies wasn't like, he was a movie fan, but it wasn't like making movies. He came to it through like theater. He invented like I can't remember, he helped create like the Living Theater in Chicago.
He's good buddies with Mamet.
He was friends with David Mamet. It's just like a great ride through this guy's life and how you can come into making movies anyway, anyhow, and just and he seemed like he just had a great time making movies, even the bad ones that he made. So those are two recent ones that I read.
I was going to recommend anything written by J.W. Rinsler.
Yeah.
The Rinsler books are amazing. He writes these very comprehensive sort of oral histories of these very famous movies, typically sort of special effects heavy, like big, famous blockbusters. His best ones are the ones about the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
They're
which I did cover on Book Club one time.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, they're incredibly comprehensive. They have overviews of multiple drafts of screenplays, so you get to see sort of the evolution of the story. All this information about the special effects. I mean, when you read those, especially those Star Wars ones, you realize that they were inventing how to make a movie like that back then. Last year I read his Aliens one, which is amazing. I already kind of know everything about the making of Aliens, but the book had stories I hadn't heard and some special effects information that I didn't know about. And they all have like all this great set photography, all these behind the scenes photos. Yeah. Tremendous. Anything that he's written about a movie, you should read.
And R.I.P., I believe he passed away.
Passed away. This letter is from our friend Kristen Grody, who recently departed Seattle and moved to Portland.
She recently departed.
Yeah. Seattle.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks for writing.
Hi, Scarecrow babes, and greetings from my new home of Portland, Oregon. I've just returned from a screening of the 2009 Eye Melting Death Race anime Red Line, which I never would have watched if I hadn't clocked it as the origin of Viva's Rapid Rex. Wait, do it, Rich.
Rapid Rex.
Beautiful.
Segment opener. So my question for you is, what is a movie you discovered because it was referenced in another piece of media? Miss all your cute faces, and I think she meant me too. In this, so I'm gonna take it. I'll be thinking of you the next time I'm browsing titles at Movie Madness. Love and kisses, Kristen. Well, love and kisses back to you as well.
Nice letter. Wait, can we show the card?
Oh yeah, I forgot to show the cute card too. Hold on.
Nice card. Boop, boop.
All right.
Everybody needs a good boop.
Everybody needs a good boop. What was the question?
A movie that you've discovered from another piece of media. I have a maybe not great answer for this, but you go first.
Do you have to go first because I didn't.
Well,
I didn't read. I hadn't seen this one before just now, so I don't know.
I don't want to turn all movie bro-y, but Pulp Fiction is the movie that like sort of set me down on the path. I was already really into movies and stuff, but when I saw Pulp Fiction in 1994, I suddenly needed to know every movie that it was referencing. Like I would not have watched Band Apart if it weren't for seeing references to it in that movie. Yeah. All of the stuff that he was pulling from in that was all new to me back then. And it turned me from just somebody who really liked watching movies into somebody who was obsessed with movies.
Yeah, I mean, well, you and I have the same origin story.
Yeah.
And then our origin story is us doing the sexploitation audit and talking about
Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
And talking about Empire Strikes Back and how I'd seen Kill Bill. I saw Kill Bill 2 weeks before you did. So.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like that. Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, there hasn't been a lot of situations where I've like, been reading a book and found out about a movie that I'd never heard of and checked it out, or like watched a movie and seen a clip from something in it and investigated that. Yeah.
Maybe one you want to come back to for Emalie when she's back on too. Well, it's a good question.
Emalie declined.
When I watch MST episodes, there's a company called Film Ventures that they would take movies and they would re-edit them and dub them.
Space Travelers.
And there's a Godzilla one too, I think, or maybe it's a Gamera one. But like Pod People specifically, if you watch the MST version, which is the Film Ventures release of that, the titles of that are from a completely different movie, which is Galaxy Invader, by Don Dohler, which is absolutely great. And I had not heard of Galaxy Invader before I had seen Pod People, and I'm like, what in the hell is this movie that is obviously not this movie that I've seen many, many times? And that led me to the wonderful world of Don Dohler films.
Oh man,
when I was a
the great Don Dohler.
So,
yeah, that's a good answer.
Bad luck. 3 on a transporter.
Now, see, what did that have to do with the movie?
Nothing.
It's funny because your answer is like Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, would be another one. Like when I saw that, and then I just started working here like a year before, and oh cool, we have all these Shaw Brothers movies, so I just injected them straight into my veins. But it's a lot of the movies from other media that it's from other movies, so it's all very incestuous or whatever. But I would say that I've come to like comic books and stuff from movies that they were based on. When I was a kid, everything for me was like from a movie backwards. It was like reverse engineered. I loved Dick Tracy. I still love the movie Dick Tracy. But that sent me on a journey finding like the Dick Tracy strips at like my library, and then that got me more and more into like comic strips and stuff. So if anything, it's the reverse, where because of a movie, I'm like, wait, that's based on a comic strip? I didn't know about Dick Tracy. Yeah, The Rocketeer, another one. Those are all these, so it's like kind of like, for me, it would be the opposite. But if I'd known that question earlier, earlier today, I may have come up with an answer. But instead, nope.
I thought it was a good answer.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for that letter, Kristen. We've got one more. This comes to us from DJ in Durham, North Carolina.
Hi, DJ.
Extricated from its paper prison.
Yeah, but look at this. By the way, look at this. Look at this beautiful envelope with some Halloween. Look at this plaid envelope. Oh my goodness.
There's a bunch of stuff in here. Hold on. There's a postcard in here. These women they look like robes, and they're sniffing other people's armpits, which is pretty cool. Hello, Matt and Emily. And there's a picture of a snail.
That's me. I'm the snail.
Loving the new shorter format of the show. My partner and I watch the show during dinner, and it's nice to watch a full episode each time. Also loving Matt's documentary era. Well, it's over. Sorry. My super niche doc suggestions are In the Realms of the Unreal, very good, artist doc about an isolated Chicago janitor who during his life made an elaborate 15,145-page fantasy manuscript. Yes, the Vivian Girls. Very cool movie.
Yeah.
I got to see a bunch of pieces of that. They had them at the Fry like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great exhibit.
Also,
I also saw it.
Also, Resurrected, The Mystery of the Toynbee Tiles.
That's really good. I've seen that.
Yeah. Love DJ. There's more.
P.S. Our friend Skip of AV Geeks fame was handing these out at our last media market here in Durham, and I thought y'all would like a copy. Keep up the good work, DJ.
They're little zines. It says, who cares about physical media? These guys are ripping off the VIVA logo, by the way, so expect to hear from our
But
attorneys.
in a fun way. And it's a film can and a
and a potato.
I think. Or a bean?
Might be a bean.
Please.
Or is it is a chair? I don't know what it is. All right, a quick zine about why that matters to you and civilization. So there's like a little treatise on what's great about physical media. This is really cute. I like this.
Yeah, awesome.
Clouds fade away. There's a cloud clutching money here.
And it gives you examples of what you should do to help save physical media.
And also, don't put this nice girl in the trash.
Marie Kondo?
Is that Marie
It says
Kondo?
don't listen to Marie Kondo.
Oh, put
and her
Marie Kondo in the
decluttering
trash?
nonsense. Well, it's saying don't listen to her about throwing everything away.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
And
anyway,
if anybody knows about not throwing anything away, it's Scarecrow
Video. Yeah. That's why you're still around.
What?
Thank you for all of the great correspondence and wonderful questions. We love to hear from you. Send us emails at viva@scarecrow.com. Send us letters at 5030 Roosevelt Way Northeast, Seattle, Washington, 98105. Send us pictures of your pets. Tell us what you're watching. Ask us all your questions. Send us cold hard cash. We need to make that money. We need to get that grip. Buy us beer. I don't know.
Don't actually mail cash.
No, you can do that.
I think it's a bad idea.
Not if it winds up in my pocket. Anyway, that was Mailbag. Ding, ding, ding. It's time. Wait. We can't do Ranch versus Rom
Why not?
because you're here.
That's right. And I started the Ranch versus Rom thing anyway.
But you're the Rom.
Because I needed to catch up on Rom. So what are we gonna do?
Well, I guess we'll just have to do Rom versus Rom.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
I know, it's amazing how we didn't think about that till right now.
That we could combat two ROMs versus each other.
Yeah.
Before we do that, though, you should probably reveal the results
of the last
Ranch
contest.
versus Rom.
I chose the Claudia Weil movie, It's My Turn. Emily chose Malibu Bikini Shop. The clear winner, 7-3, was Malibu Bikini Shop.
Yeah, and that's the one I would pick, having seen neither of those movies.
I mean, I think that my movie was probably better, but
What was it?
Malibu Bikini Shop was the ringer.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know what Matt's was about. But was it about a Malibu bikini
No,
shop?
that's why
Then
I
that's
lost.
not the one
That's
I'm going
why
to
I
vote for.
lost.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Emily and the Ranch team on a win.
Contenders this week, you have.
Yeah.
What'd you pick?
I picked career opportunities.
Kind of a staple of our youth, yet you'd never seen it.
It was a staple of some people's youth, but not this guy.
I chose John Cryer and Demi Moore in No Small Affair.
So we got John Cryer and Demi Moore versus Frank Whaley and Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
Kind of a classic matchup of dark-haired hotties from the 80s, huh? Yeah. All right, cool.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so Career Opportunities, written by John Hughes, yes, that John Hughes, and directed by Brian Gordon. No, not that Brian Gordon.
Is it the Brian Gordon who did Breaking Glass?
Yeah, maybe. No,
that's Brian Gibson. That's Brian Gibson. Anyway.
But this movie is about a guy, Frank Whaley, who is a loser who lives in this town. I would say that the movie thinks he's a dreamer, but it really is that really what he is a loser. He lives in this town. He can't hold a job down. Although the scene where he loses a job at the beginning, where he's sort of slacking off at a I guess it's like an animal shelter. It doesn't seem like he's supposed to be doing anything. He's just telling a story to these dogs that is like made up about this guy getting murdered, and then his boss comes in and like fires him, and you're like, wait, what? Is the whole movie going to be this kind of thing? And yes, the whole movie is never going to make any sense. This movie is basically an advertisement for Target and Jennifer Connelly being hot. Jennifer Connelly plays a girl who her character is hot. That's her deal. So she's hot. He's this loser. He gets a job as a night janitor at Target. He's working his first shift there, and she ends up stuck in there with him. They sort of flirt and have adventures. It becomes a rom-com maybe halfway through the movie. Then these guys show up, shades of later John Hughes masterpiece in some people's minds. These two burglars played by Dermot Mulroney and his brother something Mulroney, show up, and they've been doing a crime spree all around. And they show up in this Target, and they harass these kids. And there's a scene where she rides a little horsey. I was expecting to like this movie a little bit, and I don't think I did even a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, I have one nice thing to say about it, which is that Jennifer Connelly is attractive. But that's pretty much it. Frank Whaley plays, again, just a guy I did not like at all.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, I've got 1984's No Small Affair, directed by photographer Jerry Schatzberg, who you may have heard of as the director of like Puzzle of a Downfall Child and some other famous movies from the 70s. This is about John Cryer as a teenage photographer named Chuck. And Chuck is totally antisocial. He doesn't get along with his family. His mom is a divorcee who's sleeping around with various men, including Jeffrey Tambor, who is like inserting himself into their life for some reason. All Chuck wants to do is take photographs. One day, he's out there on the San Francisco pier, and he sees a couple having an argument, and they're in the way of him taking photos of like garbage trucks and stuff. Anyway, he takes some pictures. Later, when he develops them, he sees that the woman is this beautiful girl played by Demi Moore. Then he starts trying to track her down. He becomes obsessed with her. He finds out that she's a singer in a nightclub. And then he starts to sort of follow her around. He finally gets her to like let him take photos of her. And he becomes like more and more in love with her. And she is mostly just occupied with trying to make it as a musician, as a singer. Anyway, their relationship slowly develops. She kind of thinks of him as a friend. He obviously wants something more. And, things sort of take off from there. This is mostly interesting because of Jerry Schatzberg's relationship to, like, the kid's photography. There's a lot of detail about him, like, developing his photos and doing all this stuff. And he narrates everything in this very sardonic voiceover. It's very reminiscent of something like Risky Business. Definitely wants to be another Risky Business, Wait, when did Risky Business come out? This is 84. Did this come first? I'm not sure. Anyway.
It's chicken egg kind of thing.
Yeah, anyway. This is a pretty interesting movie. Demi Moore is really good in it, except that the main problem is that her singing is terrible. Like, she's been dubbed by another musician, but her music is bad. Like, it's surprising to me that she's ever going to make it. There's also a lot of really creepy stalker shit that John Cryer pulls on her in order to win her over, and the ending is something you got to see.
So yeah, Career Opportunities. Like I said, I was not crazy about this. It's one of those, I wish I'd liked it more, because I wanted to like it more, but it's 1991, so it's after the sort of heyday of John Hughes, writing and directing these classics, and kind of towards where he's just going to earn paychecks for Home Alone and Home Alone sequels. Frank Whaley's character is such a loser that the only people who think he's cool in the movie are these like little kids. I watched recently this Francis Ford Coppola movie called I'm a Big Boy Now, which I hated it for the same reason, which is that the main character is just this load who sucks. But I think the movies in both cases are like, yeah, but I mean, right? And I'm like, no, fuck off. This guy sucks. As someone who grew up on Labyrinth, weirdly, because I'm a person who is alive that has eyes, Jennifer Connelly is attractive. I've always thought she's attractive, but I didn't really have a full-on crush on her until Top Gun Maverick.
Same.
Recently. And I'm like, that's like the hottest she's ever been. Even though she's like, the whole deal, and this is that she's supposed to be hot. I mean, she is. But anyway, career opportunities. Vote for me.
My closing argument is I have determined that Risky Business came out in 1983, so this is indeed a ripoff of it, but it wasn't that bad. John Cryer is certainly no Tom Cruise. And as much as I enjoyed her in this movie, Demi Moore, not Rebecca De Mornay either. And there's no Guido the Killer Pimp. Still, I thought this was pretty interesting. Jerry Schatzberg, interesting director. This is kind of a departure for him. I would have not expected him to make this sort of borderline teen movie. Also features the very first appearance of baby Jennifer Tilly, who is very, very cute in this, and unfortunately plays the girl who is into John Cryer, and he totally ignores her.
Oh, well, John Cryer fucking sucks.
Yeah. He comes around by the end. So that was Rom versus Rom.
Rom versus Rom.
Remember to vote. Leave a vote in the comments. If you send us a mailbag, tell us what you're voting for there. Anyway, vote for Ron versus Rom, or Rom versus Rom.
Even.
Bye.
So my first pick is Dinner in America. From the director Adam Remier, I don't know how to say his last name.
What's your name, Adam?
It is spelled weird. Yeah, I watched this the other night at a friend in LA does like a weekly movie night, and I'd been meaning to watch this for a while. I'd heard good things about it, and I was shocked at how much I loved it. Because I was like going like, okay, this will be a fun like indie movie. It stars Kyle Gallner and Emalie Skeggs. Kyle Gallner was in one of my favorite movies the last couple of years, Strange Darling. In this, he's a totally different character, but he plays this sort of punk kid who, at the beginning, we see him in a drug trial, like, and then this girl like drooling all over herself, but also like sort of like fingering her meat that she's got in front of her.
Bet you two wish you were in Group A, huh?
And then afterwards, she's like, "Hey, come to my house for dinner, and I'll give you a blowjob or whatever." And the movie is so the movie starts off for the first 15 minutes. You're kind of like, I don't know, is it gonna be like just this kind of unpleasant thing?
Please don't look at me. I'm not.
They go to this person's house. The mom in this scene is played by Aaliyah Thompson, and then she's about probably the most famous person in it. But it has a few other like Pat Healy, Marilyn Rice plays the mom of this other girl. But it degenerates into him setting the bushes on fire in front of this house and like being like "fuck you" and running off and stuff. It's kind of funny, but you're kind of like, oh man, it's very like Solondzy, kind of nihilistic, which I tend to like, so it's cool. Then we cut to this girl who seems like she might be a little slow, working at like this pet shop, and then she gets home, dances weird to punk music, and like sucks at basketball. But in between, she's bullied like mercilessly by these guys on this bus.
What are you looking at, you fucking dog?
It's like the Don Wiener effect for me, where it was like, no, nobody supports bullying, but this character does kind of suck too. In the movie's like she is kind of lame. But through some machinations or whatever, these two characters meet each other, and this crust punk kid ends up staying at her house, because he's on the run from the cops, I think for lighting fires, but he also is a drug dealer. So you're not sure exactly why they're after him.
Do you think I'm weird?
Oh yeah, no, you're fucking weird.
Well, is weird cool?
In your case, no.
But do you think I'm cool?
I just said no.
Lots of what you would say, blue, harsh language. A lot of problematic words are thrown around, not by the heroes, but by people yelling at them. I just want to put that out there before someone watches this and then goes like, "Why I never," or whatever at us, So it ends up these two people come together, and it kind of turns into a very sweet romance.
Now he's my boyfriend.
That's so. Not a boyfriend.
Yeah, and I fucking loved it, and I was like, I texted Emalie right after I saw it and was like, "Have you seen this movie?" She's like, "No, it's been on my list forever," and I'm like, "This is, this is right up your alley." This guy is, because I've known Emalie so long, I can say this guy's like am Emily's type. So, anyway, this is my pick for the episode, Dinner in America. But also in spirit, it's Emily's pick because I know that if she saw this movie, I will be surprised if Emily watches this movie and doesn't like it.
Emily, the call is from Dinner in America. Will you accept the charges?
Will you accept the charges? This director also did a movie that came out last year that our friend Brian, host of the Pure Cinema podcast. Hi, Brian. I don't know if you're watching this.
Hi, Brian.
A movie he's recommended a lot called Snack Shack, which I watched last night. That's also very good. I prefer this one, but they both have this sort of scrappy indie energy, and I'm excited to see what he does next. Dinner in America. Eat it up.
Been waiting 30 minutes for the 151. Fucking blows.
151 doesn't run on Sundays.
Sunday?
So my pick is a movie that I just heard of very recently, and we have it here at Scarecrow, only on tape. It's called On the Nickel.
And you'll know that I'm in jail.
And this is written and directed by Ralph Waite, the actor Ralph Waite, who you may know as the old helicopter pilot guy from Cliffhanger.
You're not gonna die. Don't you lose again?
Oh, that guy.
And it's from the late 70s, and it stars Donald Moffat, everyone's favorite, and he plays a guy who is he's a recovering alcoholic who used to be a street person, an unhoused gentleman.
There's no stale wine smell, huh? No piss smell, no filthy shit in my britches a week ago smell.
And he's living in a little one-room apartment in LA, and one day he's just sort of lamenting how bored he is.
It's just plain boring.
By kind of like living the straight life, and how like every day's the same. The dignity that he thought he was going to be afforded by getting sober and taking better care of himself, he's accomplished that, but kind of like at what cost?
You try to get into what everybody's doing, but damn, when you come right down to it, it's hard to knock yourself out for getting a new car, making a lot of money. It's like you gotta pretend, you gotta pretend all that shit's important, like it's a game everybody's into. And the stone cold truth is the games down here is more fun.
And he kind of misses his old friends. Then he gets accosted by one of his old buddies who's yelling at him from the street, like yelling up to him at his window, going like,
Don't dump it! You ain't been out of that room in months! The feet got the rock, and I got the pleurisy. You just plain crazy hiding out up there, getting your friends.
And so he goes back down and starts hanging out with his old buddies again. It's mostly just a slice of life from his like sort of newly sober perspective, hanging out and getting a different point of view on his old friends. It's not at all like a thing where he realizes how bad off they are or, starts to regret any of those choices. It's more that just he realizes that that was like the real solidarity. Those friendships lasted, those bonds will always last forever for him. It's got a really good cast of character actors who you'll recognize. Ralph Waite also plays the main guy's sort of his best friend, a guy named CG. And the first part of the movie is them trying to track this guy down because nobody knows where he is.
Have you seen CG? You ain't seen CG, have you? Where the hell are you, CG?
And then the second half of the movie is sort of all of these characters hanging out. He's got another friend named Rose who walks around with a shopping cart, and Rose just wants to get enough money to buy her favorite tree.
He laughed at me. No, his son, he did not laugh. He didn't know I had money, I guess. He didn't know I was serious.
That's where she feels safe. That's where she wants to hang out. And then later on, there's a really horrible sequence where like the bulls come and roust him. The cops come and kick all the homeless people out from where they're hanging out, and they chop down Rose's tree just because they're assholes. And then, we see them all appear in court because they're being charged with vagrancy and, failure to move and stuff like that. And we get to see how the judicial system handles them. And then at the end, there's a tragedy where somebody passes away, and there's a bit of a sort of a comedic adventure where they're trying to recover somebody's ashes. It turns out to be pretty funny. Kind of reminded me a little bit of The Big Lebowski. You'll see why when you watch the movie. It sounds bleak. It's not. It's actually relatively lighthearted. It has a lot of notes of hope to it, although the circumstances are unvarnished. They're not sort of sugarcoating this to make it go down easier.
Yeah.
And it's also very theatrical. Like, you can tell that this is a group of actors who had the chance to do this material, and it's very actorly in a way that I think is productive. You know, it's like, it's amusing. It's always fun to see people like really just exercising their muscles. You know what I mean? Like doing their craft.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very short. It's only about an hour and 20 minutes. Apparently, it was considered a lost movie for a really, really, really long time. There is a Blu-ray out from a German company. Scarecrow doesn't have it, and it's out of print. But we do have this tape. I thought this was really interesting. I kind of watched it on a whim. It's a little Bukowski-esque. It reminded me a little bit of Barfly, too, where it's sort of like a warts and all version of these people's lives.
I love me some Barfly.
Yeah,
so.
I think if you like that kind of thing, you will like this kind of thing. So yeah, check out On the Nickel if you can find it.
Watch him, they say. Watch old 1,000-mile shorty. You want to learn how to ride a freight train? Just watch him.
That's episode 96. In the bag. Good job, Kev. It's nice to have you back.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm out of practice at this. So,
well, you gotta get the episode count back up because I've eclipsed you.
Yeah, in quantity.
In quantity and also just in pure humanity.
I think we can both see that's not true.
Still on that one.
Yeah, the jury's gonna be out for a while.
I don't know.
But anyway, I'm happy to be back, and I'll see you guys next week on Viva Physical Media. Bye.
What becomes of all the little boys?
Ah, Christmas, Hollywood, present.